To start with the calibration, you need to mount the switch in the switch calibration fixture. You need to remove the cover of the switch. There are 2 screws located on the front cover. And the cover can be completely taken off the switch. You will need the cover to understand the range and deadband of the switch. We'll just put the cover below. To wire the switch, you need to connect the contacts of the micro switch. The common contact, and we'd use a white wire on it. The center contact is the normally open contact, and that has a blue wire on it. And the normally closed contact here has a red wire on it. Ashcroft switches either have the contacts labeled on the micro switch with the screw terminals, or we use wires on them. We use this wiring code here that I've shown you, as white is the common, blue is the normally open, and red is the normally closed contact. The first step of calibration is to exercise the switch to make sure it is operating correctly. To exercise a switch, start from 0 psi and increase to full range of the switch. In this case, 100 psi, and then return back to 0. This should be done 3 times. We want to set this as an increasing set point switch, so we're going to set it for 80 psi increasing. The idea is that you're going to raise the pressure of the switch to the desired set point and adjust the switch to turn on there. In this example, the switch will be already turned on, so we're actually going to adjust the switch to turn off, and then we will cause it to turn back on again at the desired set point. We will set and hold our 80 psi, which is our set point for an increasing pressure. We will then increase the set point of the switch by turning clockwise on the adjustment nut. The switch is just turned off. At this point, we can now back it up. We're going counterclockwise, and if we do it very slowly, we can get a fairly accurate trip-on point. The switch just turned back on. To measure it exactly, we need to drop the pressure back to 0, and we do go all the way back to 0, and then we bring the pressure up to just before where it should trip, which is just before 80, and then bring the pressure up very slowly, and we can measure the exact turn-on point of the switch. Now we can measure the reset pressure by lowering it down, which is approximately 77. So this switch has a deadband of 3. Now we're going to set a decreasing set point on a B700 switch. The cover on the B700 unscrews. The B700 is an explosion-proof switch, and it's in an explosion-proof housing. To exercise the switch 3 times to make sure it is operating correctly, take it up to 100, and we're going to set the switch for a set point of 20 pounds decreasing. So we take it up to full range of 100, and then we would lower it down to 20. Now we notice that the switch is set higher than this, which is okay. We're going to adjust it, and so that it operates correctly in this sequence. So we would set our pressure to 20 psi, and now we would turn the adjustment nut in a counterclockwise to lower the set point of the switch. The switch just turned on. Now we'll very slowly turn it back in the opposite direction, the clockwise direction, until the switch turns off. Now we need to measure to see if we've set the set point exactly. So we will drop the pressure back to 0. We will raise the pressure to 100 psi, full range of the switch. And then we will lower the pressure slowly down to where our set point should be. As we get close, we will start to go slower. And we will measure the actual point at which the switch turns off or deactivates. Light turns red. Now this is just a little bit lower than we want it to set at. It's at 19. So what we would do is we would go back and make another minor adjustment to the switch. So we would lower the pressure down to 0, take it back up to 100, bring it back to 20, and make the adjustment again. That's set at 20. Now we would make a slight adjustment until it reset. We would measure that set point by going back to 0 and taking it up to 100. And then we would lower the pressure till approximately 20, and then slowly lower it down, and we can measure the actual reset point of the switch. Much closer to 20, and then we can raise the pressure and measure the dead band of the switch, which is approximately 2 psi. So that switch is now set. So we would repeat the process to verify that the set point is what it is. For set points on vacuum range switches, it is best to think of the set point as a negative pressure. So an increasing vacuum set point is a decreasing pressure set point, and a decreasing vacuum set point is an increasing pressure set point.